Good day. Today is Tuesday, September 10th. I'm Bill Brown from Turf Republic, and this is Turf Chat Australia, Episode 3, Regional Updates. Australia, it's about 7 o'clock on the East Coast of the United States, 9 a.m. Australia time, and we are live with Episode 3 of Turf Chat Australia, and we're talking updates today. We're going to talk about some things going on in the U.S. in terms of how our summer has been as we are winding down. And in Australia, we're kind of ramping, you guys are ramping up for your summer. So we're going to talk about how we deal with those issues, how we deal with heat on both warm and cool season grasses, how we deal with some of the rain in the U.S. this year. It's been very rainy when we've had periods of heat. And then we're going to follow that up with how we communicate all of these problems to our members to make sure we stay out in front of things. So let's start off. We'll start off with introductions. Andrew, if you want to take over and start us off.
Good morning to everyone in Australia. Good evening to everyone in North America. My name is Andrew Hardy. I'm the golf course superintendent at Pheasant Run Golf Club in Sharon, Ontario, Canada. Glad to be here tonight / this morning.
My name's Chris Allen from Keysborough Golf Club. I'm down in Melbourne, Victoria. It's good to be in my first turf chat. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, g'day, I'm Nadine from Colin Campbell Chemicals in Australia. I'm glad to be back. This is our third episode of Turf Chat, and yeah, all going well, and I'm very, very interested in today's topic.
Robin?
Me, I'm up. Hi, how are you? I'm Robin Didson from Century Cove Golf Club on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. I think this is my second Turf Chat. Good to be on.
All right, everybody. Go ahead, John.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say I'm John Kaminsky, Associate Professor at Penn State. This is my first time I've done a Turf Chat Australia. So it's about, for Bill and I and a few others in the East Coast of the U.S., it's about 7:10. So I said you get Kaminsky Unfiltered in the evening. So I look forward to the topic as well.
All right, guys, and Bill Brown from Turf Republic, glad to be here, glad to help Nadeem and the guys over in Australia get these going. We do have, I'll just make one note in case I forget at the end, these are on the iTunes store under podcasts. If you Google Turf Chat, both Turf Chat, I guess I will call it Turf Chat US and Turf Chat Australia is on iTunes. We'll get these episodes up in the next couple days. So let's start us off. In the US here, we're kind of finishing our summers up. Australia, we're getting things going. I guess John and Andrew, you want to kind of fill us in on how your summer's been, what you've been dealing with in terms of heat stress?
It's been one of the most unusual years that I've ever seen. It's the only way that I can describe it. We started out cool, opened about 6 weeks later this year than last. And it's really been 2 weeks of cold, 2 weeks of hot, 2 weeks of unseasonably cold, and then we went back into a week of summer weather, and now we're back into fall conditions, and we're going to get 2 or 3 days of summer-like conditions over the next few days again. We, at our golf club, we were unfortunate enough to get hit with a 2-inch rain on a Friday afternoon, and by the following Wednesday, our full event greens did not look very pretty. So we've basically been in recovery mode ever since, and we're back to about 95% now. And hopefully, before we head into our true fall season with frost delays and everything, we'll have everything back to 100%. But it's just been a crazy year in the Northeast for sure.
Andrew, you said, did you, if I remember watching your Twitter feed, you guys aerated at a different time than you typically would have this year, correct?
We actually did it the second week of August this year. It was a desperation move. There was nothing else that was going to push recovery faster than the aeration with overseeding and a heavy top dressing. In fact, we're doing it again in 2 weeks. So it's the one in 2 weeks really isn't a recovery thing. It was a scheduled aeration, but we've really got to start to push the envelope with soil displacement. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but you know, I sort of succumbed to some pressure from higher up in the club to not pull cores for a few years, and it looks as though it's finally caught up with us.
Yeah. John, what have you seen this year in your travels?
I don't know. For me, it's been kind of a mild year. I feel like it's been easy. I think the guys that have been getting hit the hardest are those like Andrew up north. New England had some really unusually warm weather, and so some guys were getting like consistent days above 90s, and that's just something they don't typically see up there. And so the bent grass was fine, but the POA, which is what predominantly they have, the POA started becoming a big issue for them. You get down to the area where we're used to that weather, like where you are, Bill, and Philly area, Mid-Atlantic. It wasn't really that bad. The rains killed people pretty good. I mean, it's just too much rain in a short period of time. But for most of the areas, it's been what I would say is a mild year. But again, like Andrew said, some of the areas that aren't used to the heat that ended up getting consecutive days above 90. Yeah, they started having some problems. So for me, it's been a pretty, like, I'm like looking around overall, and I'm like, it's been a pretty benign year, not really much problems. But having said that, there's always those pockets like Andrew's place and a few places up in Rhode Island that just got crushed when the heat came and the POA didn't like it. So
yeah, and we had a Great Leaf Spot hit this area early this year. It was hot early, looking like it was going to be a bad year, and then all of a sudden it just got cool. I think of the guys that were not in the pockets that did get nipped were just, it was an easy year to get lulled to sleep if you were in one of these areas that had just a easy year, and you got kind of lulled to sleep, and the heat came, and you got, just wasn't used to it, and we're scheduled to see, I think, 87, 90 tomorrow, and then it's supposed to dip right back down today. I was talking to Jason Van Buskirk up in Stowe, Massachusetts. It was 39 degrees this morning up by him. So, and then Bob Porter out in Minnesota, it was 72 with 90% humidity. So it's amazing the differences we're seeing now. So, guys in Australia, you guys are kind of heading into what we are leaving. What are you guys hearing in terms of forecasts this year for your summer?
You want to go first, Chris?
Yeah, I'll go first, Rob. Down here in Melbourne, they're forecasting a very dry and hot summer, so we're going to be equipped with hand hoses for most of the summer by the sound of it.
Yeah, I think from our perspective, we've had a very wet start to this year, incredibly wet. I think we had about 1.5 meters of rain in the first 2.5 months of the year, and that continued into the start of the winter, but we're now into a period, we've probably had 6 weeks with no rain, and we're now crying out for a little bit. It's been a very mild winter. It's been mid-20 degrees most days. It did drop a couple of weeks ago. I saw the first frost here on the Gold Coast that I've ever seen in nearly 6 years. So, but I think today is going to be 30 degrees, so that's up towards 90 degrees in the first week of spring. So it's starting off as a hot year, but I think towards November, December, yeah, we're looking at above average rainfall, which can be a big bit of a worry where we are, because that can mean some pretty substantial rain.
Nadine, what do you hear?
Yeah, here in Sydney, it's been unseasonably warm. We've been getting typical weather, similar weather with Robin, where it was just wet up until the Turf Conference. I think the Turf Conference just stopped the rain, and we haven't had any since. Already, I'm looking at the temperature now. Where I am located, near where Martin O'Malley is, it's about 26, 27 degrees Celsius already, so into the 80s. And overnight, it was warm. It's been like 12, 14 degrees, and they are forecasting a wet spring. Haven't seen anything yet, but yeah, compared to this time last year we were just cold. But yeah, it is. It's beach weather at the moment.
Wow. Now, Chris, question for you. Were you at Marion all summer?
This year?
Yes.
No, I was just there for the US Open.
Oh,
I
okay.
came over
Okay.
3 weeks just for a tour. I was there in 2003 as an intern.
Okay. I didn't know if you were there all summer because going from the summer on a course like that and then going back home and getting into the conditions you're saying you're going to see this summer, man, you just would not have any time off this year. Be a long stretch for you over a period of a year. So, all right.
Yeah.
So, guys, we all deal with heat stress. We all deal with inability to manage moisture when the rain just does not want to shut off. So I know, Robin, you've got warm season grass. The rest of the guys are dealing with cool season. So I guess as a whole, and Andrew, we'll start with you and go right down the line. How do you guys deal with this?
Well, the biggest thing for me this year is I actually personally, out of my own pocket, bought myself a TDR, and that was for me that was major. Just being able to manage water a little bit better. But we like to implement a venting program. Equipment becomes a challenge at times. We have a Vertidrain, which is a great machine, but then we've still got the old style Toro Greens aerator. Can't convince the owner to plunge into a 648 or one of the new John Deere units right now. So we make do with what we have. We try and vent at least once every 3 weeks, and the biggest thing with the high humidity for us with the rainfall is managing water and not falling into a lull where you just keep throwing water at it. And I mean, I'm about as environmental a superintendent as you'll meet, but this year our chemical budget has been blown out of the water. Just and I know when John and I saw each other last week in Niagara Falls, we talked about chasing dollar spot because a lot of places have done it all year this year. I haven't had to do it myself, but I've sprayed fairways twice this year, which is one more time than I typically spray. And greens, they've gotten the full treatment this year. 2 Pythium sprays, which is typically one more than what we usually do, and dollar spot sprays on 14-day intervals, Anthracnose on 21-day intervals. It's just been one of those years where even when you get the breaks, something else flares up. So it's the only good thing about this year is I haven't seen Summer Patch, which is my nemesis. So that's been good to see, or not see.
Yeah, I think, Bill, for a lot of these guys, in terms of managing the summer stress, I try to tell everybody water management's the key. And so, Andrew, for you to go out and buy your own TDR, I think, although it's a pain in the ass and the fact that you have to do that is kind of silly, but it saves your butt on a lot of occasions and is worth the investment. So if you can manage water and you can keep it out of the system and you have enough drainage, that seems to be the key. It's hot, wet soils that kill people more than anything else. And so this year we had so much rain. If you didn't have proper drainage, getting that water off the system or out of the system, then you were in trouble. Especially towards the end of June when we got a lot of that rain, and then the heat came. And if you were wet during that heat, there was nothing you could do. And so I keep saying, yeah, it's an easy summer. It's an easy summer. But there was about a 2 or 3 week period that you could have lost a significant amount of turf, and then obviously if you don't get through that 2 to 3 week period, you could have the best weather in the world, but you're not going to just bring that back overnight. And so that's how a lot of people got caught, I think. So water management to me is the key.
Chris and Robin?
You
You want to go first, Robin?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
So with us, we've just come out of spring aerifying. So right now it's trying to build a decent root structure coming in the summer. With our irrigation system, we're looking at 40 years old, I think it is. So not a reliability. And since doing my internship with Matt Schaefer at Marion, I realised how valuable a hand hose is, and that's what how mainly we do all our watering. We're lucky with our fairways; they're all warm season grass and Santarana and Cooch or Bermuda grass, so they get little love. And we're also one of the luckier clubs in Melbourne where water storage and quantity isn't an issue. Where a lot of other clubs in Melbourne have gone through the reverse osmosis and stormwater harvesting to great lengths. So for us, it's purely just, as the other guy said, is making sure that moisture is sufficient and not in abundance, because we can get hit pretty hard with Pythium, and anthracnose are another problem we face in the summer. So we go out every 28 days with a preventative fungicide, just to help push our greens through and try to get through the summer. It's basically it for us. We verti drain once a month with solid tines, 8 mil. So yeah, as much as we can help those roots and not try to waste them throughout the summertime, that's our key.
Robin?
All right, over to me. Yeah, well, I guess I'm probably in the same mindset as Andrews at the moment. I've just gone and bought myself this little gadget, which is an Australian-made moisture sensor. It's called a HydroSense meter. I used to have the HydroSense 1, which is a good little handheld thing. This is a bit of an upgrade because it's got geotagging in it, and it Bluetooth straight to my computer, so I can log the moisture sensor. I've only had it a week or so I'm trying to get my head around it at the moment, but water management's the key at the moment. Last year, I think we got caught out. Our new golf course with sand constructed greens get very undulating greens on it, so trying to get even moisture through those greens last year using overhead sprays it's just not going to work for us moving forward. So we're going to start doing a lot more hand watering than we've ever done before. If we were to design the golf course again, I think we'd do it slightly differently. But moisture management is certainly going to be a key for us. We're probably similar to Chris. We've had some pretty major irrigation issues over the winter. We had a pretty major lightning strike at the start of winter, which took out probably 50% of satellite boxes on one golf course, on our old golf course. So it's taken us about 4 or 5 months. We're just now, actually today, we're up to full communication on the irrigation system. So that was taking up a lot of our time doing manual watering. So we're back on track with that. Fingers crossed before the weather turns and gets consistently hot. Even though we're a warm season course, we overseed one of our golf courses with Poa Trivialis. And this winter, with that warm winter and especially the hot spell that we've just seen, we're seeing the earliest transition we've ever seen. It'll be gone in a couple of weeks, whereas in previous years we've had the Poa survive till Christmas. So it's going to be gone very quickly. It's getting cooked at the moment.
Wow.
Have you guys considered, Robin, going away from the overseeding and going to some of the paints that are available now?
Yeah, we have. The overseeding works well. We've got, on our Pines golf course, we get some old greens, and we get some, unbelievable shade issues. It's part of the golf course is that it goes through a pine plantation, so it's one of the major features, and we've tried to eliminate as much shade as we can. We've dabbled with some of the Vision Pro's example. The Poa has worked. It's a good contrast for us. We've got the old 328 on one course, which we overseed, and now we've got the Tiff Eagle on the other course. So the oversown 328 plays pretty differently, and our members seem to really enjoy that sort of contrast between both golf courses. So, it's probably about a $15,000 exercise every year, but it's worked really well for us.
Well, guys, I got a question. We've been talking a lot about moisture management and moisture management being the key. When I was a superintendent, Mid-Atlantic, you know, we're spraying every 7 days. We have to, from June to almost September. But I'll be honest with you, I worried more about my wetting agent intervals than I did my fungicides, because with a fungicide, if something were to break out short of something like summer patch, that might be a little bit more difficult to shut down, or Pythium velutum, I could go out with Daconil at a higher rate and kick it right out, or DMI and kick something out. But my wetting agent, if you got behind, not only were you behind, but it was like 2 or 3 waterings before you felt like you got caught up again. And what's everybody's thought on wetting agents? I mean, we had a pellet every time there was a hose out. There was a pellet in the hose from anywhere from February to November if we were hand watering. So, what's everybody's thoughts on that?
Definitely, we use a pellet every time we come out with a hand hose. So it's definitely an integral part. We find by boom spraying we don't get the advantage, and plus we want to just focus on the localized spots. So definitely use the wetting agent pellets.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Absolutely. It's a permanent attachment on our hand hoses now.
Yeah. Andrew, do you use them, or?
I do myself. I have one for the hose that I haul around, but there's only so much that a guy will pay for out of his own pocket.
Yeah. I know up in Rochester, the first night I was there, the first morning I was there, they were calling for pretty heavy rains that afternoon, and they went out and sprayed all the greens just to try and help dry them out if they did get a downpour, and they ended up getting about a 1/4 inch of rain that night. And it was funny because everybody on the Golf Channel and everybody else who was commentating was saying how all the greens are going to be wet and soggy because they push up greens because they got a 1/4 inch of rain, and they were firmer that next morning than they were before they got rain. So it's amazing, you know, what some of those products will help you do to get rid of that water. So Nadeem, you have anything to add in terms of wetting agents or managing the stress?
Yeah, I just want to say, it's like I look at wetting agent, definitely use a pellet every time you go out and hand watering the hot spots and the likes, but also just have a wetting agent program, a preventative program there. I see a lot of times in the past few years where people have gone out with a wetting agent probably about 6 weeks later than probably should have. Start early, because a lot of these wetting agents prevent the actual hot spots coming to hydrophobic soil. So if you can get on more of a prevention program, like your fungicide program, you're going to be much better off that way. And do it throughout the whole season as well, not just go, we're out of the hot area now, let's just, we can slow it down, but keep on up. If it is dry, the surface is still going to be dry.
Yeah. So guys, we talked about how we deal with the heat stress, but I guess we need to talk about how guests of our golf course, guests of our property are going to deal with the heat stress in terms of some of the management or lack of maintenance that we need to do. And Andrew, you had mentioned it earlier, but we see that everywhere. No matter where you're at, the envelope is pushed, because for us, in our area, Andrew, we typically always aerate that second week of August, and the greens are typically, barring an awful year, are in their best condition. And everybody always says, "Oh, you're aerating, the greens are in their best condition. Now you're going to poke holes in the ground." And it's just, we battle it all the time. You're not alone. So how does everybody go about communicating to their members or their guests if you're a public golf course the things we need to do, or maybe more importantly, not do when we see these stresses? Andrew, you want to start off?
Well, it's an interesting topic, given that I've basically walked away from my blog for the rest of the year. Just, it kills me to walk away from it because I love it. It's a part of what it's a part of me, because there's a piece of me in every blog post that I put out, and just the backlash from, because we're a semi-private golf club, so we have paying public as well as members playing, and the backlash from people that I was getting, it just made it not worthwhile to communicate anymore, for this year anyway. I just, I had a guy email me and basically said, the email said, "You suck, you should stick to looking after your kids."
Ugh.
And when I went to reply to the email, he had deleted the email account. It came back, email account does not exist.
Ugh.
And you know what, I took a thrashing on one of the golfer forums up here in Toronto. I'm not even going to give them the dignity of mentioning their name. You know, people basically, because you had some grass go backwards on you, they basically tell you that you're a bad person. Well, so I just backed away from it a bit. That's where my name change with my Twitter handle came in as well. My owner had asked if I would, well, we sort of agreed that I needed to take the pheasant out of it, because some of the members were offended with the fact that I was communicating to them what was going on. So it just basically got to the point that people didn't want me to communicate anymore. They just wanted me to fix the problem. And I can respect that, but I mean, it's, like I said, it was just time for me to just, I wasn't going to win any battles. My owner had my back 100%. He's the only person I answer to, so I just said to him, you know what, I'm just going to back away from it for the year, and I'll just let people come out and recognize how much better things are every time they come out to play. And I mean, even the backhanded compliments since things have improved drastically is, you know, I've had people, I had a guy walk up to me on Friday and say, it is nothing shy of a miracle that the Greens have come back this year. And I just kind of, I'm a pretty opinionated guy, and I just smiled. It was a great learning experience for me this year. Learning a little humility and learning how to deal with some negative.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of, Chris, I'll let you go in a second here, but it's, you know, we're kind of like quarterbacks of a football team. You know, when the team wins, the team won, and when the team loses, it's the quarterback's fault. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, when the Greens are, when we're struggling, it's our fault. But when we're good, well, the weather's been good, or you had no play, or, you know, so it's we all deal with it. It's at times a very thankless job, but there's a reason we're in it. It's because we've got that just passion to be in here. So, Chris, what about you?
I guess I'm lucky. I just really communicate to our links director, manager, and also head professional. They're sort of my voicing bodies to the membership. So at the moment, we've got a pretty good rapport, and they give me all the feedback from membership. I don't really have a lot to do with members. And also, we have probably, I think, 15 volunteers we get on a Monday and Thursday that are part of the membership. So we've got a pretty good relationship with them, and they also voice any concerns or what they may hear out in the course. And so I guess I'm sort of lucky. I got a fairly much a blue collar membership, so they're sort of respectful and don't expect, I guess, Royal Melbourne conditions every day. They do understand work has to go into it, and time's got to be allocated, so I'm very fortunate.
Robin?
All right. I guess I'm probably in a similar spot than Andrew was. I've kind of had a couple of experiences similar to him where, yeah, I mean, I was pretty proactive with my blog and my course maintenance Facebook page, and I had a member did something pretty similar, logged on there with a random username, Sanctuary Cove Golfer, and tried to post, well, I guess which was pretty abusive message on there. Thankfully, I'd set my settings up that I had to screen all posts before they got on, so I was just deleting it. This guy had gone on there 7 times, tried to post this. He was pretty motivated, and tried to anonymously post this ridiculous remark, and then I just forgot about it. And a couple of months later, this guy walks up to me and goes, "Now, I've been looking at your blog, at your Facebook page. It's all good, but I've tried to post something on there and it wouldn't let me." So I found out who the culprit was. He dubbed himself in. But since then, we've had a bit of a change in management here, and they've wanted to sort of integrate some sort of universal Facebook social media policy. So we've got basically a central Facebook page and Twitter account, which I've still got my own Twitter account, which I use more to not really communicate with members, but guys like yourselves. And yeah, try and just keep communication with members through Greens committees and through my CEO and through our golf manager. I mean, we all want to be talking to all our members every day, but I think Andrew's right. To be honest, a lot of them, 99% of them, don't really want to know, and it really can come back and bite. It can sometimes start a conversation that you don't want to start. I got an email sent to me at the weekend. Well, it was actually sent to the club captain and the vice captain from one of our members who'd been away for a while, congratulating them on the condition of the golf courses. And the last comment was, I know you guys put a lot of time and effort into the management of the golf courses, and you really should be commended. And I mean, the captain, to his credit, forwarded it to me because it was generally a positive email, but he didn't think to correct the member on the fact that he has absolutely nothing to do with the management of the golf courses. He just come back from a 6-week cruise in the Mediterranean. So I mean, it's funny to hear that if that's the mentality of the members, that we're just following directions of our club captains and Greens chairmen. It was a positive email, which I took a couple of different ways. It's good to hear that members think the golf course is good, but it's a bit disappointing to hear why they think it's good, I suppose.
Very good. John or Nadeem, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think we've been so very open with social media lately that sometimes we tend to forget that maybe we shouldn't be posting all the stuff that we're posting. Being a good communicator and sharing the information is one thing, but when there's really big problems, sometimes it's good to pull back. The last thing you want to do is get yourself into a hot seat because you shared more information than the club really wanted you to share about the club. Because ultimately it's their club, not ours or yours, and whatever message they want to be out there, whether it's true or not, is really what you have to portray. So it's tough because you get good at it. And like Andrew's good at it, and you post a bunch of messages and you share information. But sometimes it's best to just, like Andrew's doing, just pull back and not have that stuff out there. So it's a fine line, and you have to find out what your club wants to do. I think some clubs are really all over it. I guess the example I would use would be like Hazeltine National in hiring Chris. Obviously, they want a message out there, and they want someone visible on social media and that kind of stuff. But I've talked to John Zimmers at Oakmont. He's like, you really got to explain to your students that not everybody wants to be that visible. And social media is good to a point, but you got to be careful about the environment you're in and what club you're at. So I think that it's a good point and a good lesson learned for a lot of people. Some people get away with it and thrive in their profession because of it, and some people get burnt by it. So you never know. Hopefully Bill comes back in here. We're all flying solo. He's running this thing. You just got booted.
And I'll just add to, I guess we're still recording, I'll just say to her, it's like myself and Robin just did an article for our the Turfgrass Journal, the Australian Golf Supers magazine, on social media, and one of the first things that I always say in talks that we mentioned in the article, I know Robin always says, don't post anything unless you want other people to read it. If you're not happy with it, don't post it. That's one of the big things, because you do want to communicate. You do want to tell your members what's going on, what's happening. It happens in golf courses, happens in sports fields. But yeah, we give them the information and then get them to come up. If there's anything else, get in touch with that person directly and talk to them on a one-on-one basis if you don't want to continue the conversation on social media. Always look at it that way. You can always get in touch with these people.
Yeah. And John, my computer must have not liked your comment, because all of a sudden I was out of the Hangout. So
I said I hope he makes it back, because if he doesn't, we're screwed here.
No, it kept recording. We're good, but yeah, all of a sudden you guys just disappeared on me. So, well, that's good, guys. That was a really good discussion. We had quite a bit of views tonight. A lot of people listening in. I know nobody texted us with the Turf Chat hashtag, but we had a lot of good discussion tonight. Why don't we close things up? Just final thoughts, anything you want to promote? Andrew, if you want to go first, go ahead.
Just the only thing I'm going to promote is we're aerating greens again. We're doing significant tree removal this fall. In fact, we've already started the tree removal process to try and get the morning sun and lots of air movement in on some of our greens complexes. And I will be, I guess it's on November the 11th, I'll be doing a guest lecture to the University of Guelph turfgrass students on social media, ironically enough. And that's about all I've got going on. You can follow me at Andrew Hardy Turf or my club account at PR Turf Updates.
All right. Chris?
Nothing, just looking forward to summer, getting through it. Hopefully don't lose any turf, fingers crossed. What else to do? We're just changing a lot of our cool season green surrounds out to centre and a cooch. And that's it, really. Club championships on next month, so in preparation to get the course up to speed for them. And then that's about it. Enjoyed being part of this turf chat. Thank you very much.
Very good. Nadeem?
Yeah, cool. I'd just like to say thank you for everyone for joining us. Chris, your first time, and John and Andrew, the first time on Turf Chat Australia. Appreciate you guys taking out the time, especially being in the evening and the likes. For me, I've just got a few more travels and the like and everything like that. I've been home this week for once, but last couple of weeks I've been in Victoria and visited Chris, but I've got to head my way up north and catch up with Robin and a few others up there. So looking forward to the real start of spring and summer, and hopefully it's not too bad. I hope this hot weather really does start to subside and we get a more normal season. Just want to, a greenkeeper's Christmas as we call it. We don't want, too hot weather. We wouldn't mind a few showers that day. That would be nice coming up to it. But yeah, no, it's all going well, and I'm looking forward to John coming out in December, which I'll post some more information shortly in regards to that. Robin?
Over to me. What we've got from Australian Course Superintendents Association point of view, we've got the launch of the trade show for 2014 next month. I think Nadeem will be up for that, hopefully. It's on the Gold Coast here next year, so I'm looking forward to that. We'll be hosting the golf championships here next year at Century Cove, so looking forward to that next year. I don't know. That's about it.
All right, for me, I don't know what I got going on. Nadeem's going to post some stuff about the trip to Sydney in December. I think it's December 19th is going to be the date of the seminar, and we're still working out details on what we're going to talk about, but I think some disease management, some social media, kind of mix it up a little bit. So that'll be interesting. It'll be my first trip to Australia, so I'm excited about that. And Nadeem, 2 weeks after I said let's do this, I got invited out to Brisbane in July for another conference. so I'm making a trip to Australia twice in about a 6-month period.
Is that for the International Horticulture Conference?
Yes, it's a sports turf managers, but I think it's combined with the horticulture group.
Perfect. Yeah.
I think it's the sports turf managers. They do a bunch there, so I think I'm given like some kind of keynote talk or invited speaker talk. I don't know yet, but
cool.
Yeah. Other than that, my students come back soon. The undergrads started last week or 2 weeks ago, but my students start in about 3 weeks, and so they're going to start looking for their internships early October. So I'll put a push out. Anybody that's interested or wants to be considered for hosting one of our students for a 6-month internship, March through September, look me up, Penn State Turf Kaminsky, and shoot me an email with information, and we'll get that out to the students. So it's a good time now to start recruiting if you're interested in getting students. And my students go all over the place. They haven't had any go to Australia because you guys are in the middle of winter when they're doing their internship. But they do go all over the country and all over the world. So that's all I have to promote now.
All good?
You're up, Bill. You're muted. Oh, Turf Path. That's what I got to promote. Turf Pat. Download it. Free app. One word.
Got me now or no?
You're good.
There we go. Man, just you gotta love technology. Here's a guy who like touts technology in the industry, and his computer's not working. You know, it's a little embarrassing. But you know, we've got a lot of things happening at Turf Republic. We're really excited about. We relaunched today out of beta. New site look this morning. We also made the announcement. Really excited to have Adam Garr at superintendent from Plum Hollow Country Club join us. He's going to be our resident GoPro video connoisseur tutor, I guess. But we've got some really neat things with him that'll be coming out shortly. We've also got some things over about the next 10 to 14 days. New features of Turf Republic will be released as well. So we're really excited. Glad to be part of this with you guys. So I guess with that, guys in Australia, you guys have a great day, and I know us in the States are shutting it down for the Eagles and Redskins tonight. So, and I just heard that it was on Twitter, the Redskins have run more plays than Andy Reid had wins last year. So,
nice.
You're in a bonus already, John. So
all I want is the W for the Skins.
There we go. So with that, guys, have a great night. Guys, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.